Hi, I'm Claire Tompkins, the Clutter Coach, and this is the Organize Your Life podcast. I am passionate about organizing because it makes my clients' lives so much easier, more relaxed, and with more time to spend the way they want to. In every podcast in the show, I'll lay out a simple organizing concept, and I'll tell you why it's important. I'll also include an action step at the end so you can start practicing right away. My specialty is chunking down this big topic so it's not overwhelming. That's the concept for this podcast, which is based on my first book, 52 Simple Ways to Get Organized. The book is available on my website and on Amazon. I work with clients in person in the Berkeley, California area and via email and Skype, so you don't have to be local to me. Visit the Hire tab on my website or email me at claire@cluttercoach.net. If you like the show, please rate it and review it. To do that, go to my website, cluttercoach.net, and scroll down for the show notes. Each show notes post has a link to leave a review in iTunes. I would so appreciate that. Okay, on to the podcast. This is podcast 85, and it's about mastery. A new client dubbed me the Clutter Master. It kind of made me smile because I just watched a kung fu movie the other night where two men are vying for the title of Wing Chun Master. So you can imagine me holding my hands board straight and moving my arms gracefully into position to attack my enemy. Clutter. I do know how to master clutter. I do it for myself and I teach others. What's important to remember is that I continue to defend my title every day. Clutter challenges me every day, just as it does you. Hi-ya! I know people tend to think that a clutter coach or a clutter master's home is absolutely pristine. Not a thing out of place, like a page out of the Martha Stewart Living magazine. Well, it looks that way sometimes, but a lot of times it doesn't. Sometimes I'm very busy for days on end. Sometimes I'm sick. And I confess sometimes I just don't feel like it. So there you have it. I've burst your bubble. I am not perfect. But truly, you should take heart from this news. I don't succeed at staying organized because I have some special gene or an uncanny ability to spontaneously and instantly create order. Sure, I know more about organizing theory and techniques than the average person, and I have more ability to effectively manage my time. But those are things that I have learned, and you can too. My podcast is totally about teaching you that stuff. I strive to come up with different approaches and new ways of looking at old problems so that you can have an aha moment and get past whatever obstacle is in your way. I talk about resistance and motivation and how to get out of your own way. But no matter how many episodes I post, there's still that matter of putting all these ideas into action and making them part of your life. That's the tough part, right? That's pretty much true for everyone. I'm planning to offer a group coaching program later this year to address this issue. Because when you're at the point where you've learned a lot about how to declutter and manage your time better and get yourself organized, but it still hasn't happened the way that you needed to, the answer is to get regular support. That is the secret sauce that coaching offers. I have coaches myself. I don't do this all alone. Coaching is invaluable to me in getting things done that I want to do, but I'm not for some reason. And for when I'm doing something and I'm running into problems that have me stumped. And for when I feel discouraged and just want to give up. A former coach of mine once drew me a diagram. She put a line across the center of the page. Under the line were my hopes, dreams, plans, wishes. Above the line were completed projects, written books, delivered programs, and happy clients. Punching through that line is the big task. You are creating reality from a dream. All reality starts from dreams, but getting from point A to point B is not so simple. It involves mastery, and mastery involves practice. You are already on that journey because you've identified places where change is needed, and you're pursuing knowledge and skill to do that. Here's a quotation from George Leonard. He wrote a book called Mastery, although this quotation is from another book. At the heart of it, mastery is practice. Mastery is staying on the path. And that's what I'm talking about. Organizing is a journey. It's not a destination that you get to once and just stay there. It's a lifestyle. It's a practice. The master is also a student, always. I learn from my clients all the time, and I'm constantly reading and observing and thinking about how I can help them better and how I put that knowledge to work in my own life. I play Japanese taiko drum. I started about 12 years ago. I remember that about a year or so into my practice, I felt like quitting. I'd learned all the basics. I could play some songs, but I'd noticed that my arm wouldn't always move the right way when I willed it to, and even to this day, my bocce twirling is pretty subpar. I got discouraged by that, and I decided to quit several times. But for some reason, I didn't. I had the feeling that I had plateaued. I was bored and frustrated, but I convinced myself to continue. Then I started getting better again. I gained mastery over some techniques. Note that when I say mastery, I mean that I became competent and could do this new thing reliably. Then I started to get bored again. It took me a while, but I realized that this was going to continue to happen. Once I relaxed into that, I started to appreciate more the small amounts of progress that I made. And more importantly, I felt glad that there was so much more to learn because I really loved playing taiko. And that was a big mind shift. Being happy that I didn't already know everything. The fun of learning and the excitement of increasing my mastery, even a little bit, that made me happy. Now, I don't expect you to fall in love with getting better at organizing or pursue it with the zeal of a Zen monk. What I do suggest is giving yourself a break about not being there yet. If you are on the journey, you're doing it. Every time you get back on the horse, you're doing it. Your mastery is increasing and you can see the results. That's what I want for you. What can you do right now? If there's a particular organizing skill you've been trying to master or a habit you're trying to form, look back and see how much progress you've made and appreciate that. Even if it's tiny, you can count it and let it pull you forward. Hey, thanks for listening. I'm Claire Tompkins, the Clutter Coach. If you like the show, I'd love it if you'd leave a rating and review in iTunes. You can subscribe, too, so the podcast will be ready and waiting for you to listen to. You'll find the show notes on my blog at www.cluttercoach.net, and you can check out my store to find books I've written and a whole bunch of other stuff. If you're a fan of the show, you can become a patron on patreon.com for as little as $1 a month. You can find my page by going to the Patreon website, that's Patreon, and searching on Clutter Coach. I'll still post the podcast free of charge, but I've got some cool rewards for folks who want to help me make the show even better. Come back next week for a new podcast.